Welcome to the Dirt Broadcast, digging to the bottom of every situation to get to the truth. Here's your host, Jason Mills.
Hello, folks. Let me get me up here. There we go. That's better. Hello, folks. How we doing today? Hope you're doing well. I don't like that reflection in my glasses. It's a little annoying. This isn't my regular glasses. I broke my glasses the other day, so I'm back to these pair, and apparently we're going to have the glare from the computer screen on there. But anyways, we'll deal with it today. We hope everybody's doing well out there. You'll have to excuse me. I'm still battling a frog in my throat. Sorry for skipping out on you last week. Wasn't my intentions, but it happens. Sorry for being a few minutes late. I had to download some things, and I also had to get StreamYard paid here so I could go live on some other places. So we are back live on Facebook, of course. We are also back live on YouTube under the Dirt Podcast, and we are also on Rumble. And if you remember, if you're looking for me on Rumble, it's under the Dirt Podcast UC, all one word. So don't put a space in between any of that. All one word, the Dirt Podcast UC, and you'll be able to watch me on Rumble. However you choose to watch, I greatly appreciate it. As we go through tonight, as always, remember to like, share, comment. We appreciate that. Let me know how you doing, where you been, what you doing, how your day's going, all that kind of good stuff. Feel free to jump in at any point in time. I will warn anybody that has intentions of just getting on here to cause trouble. I will ban you quickly. I say that because some things that I've heard lately, and I'm not afraid to answer questions or anything like that, but I've heard some rumblings lately that I've got some people that are going to start coming on the podcast just to cause trouble, and I'm not here to deal with any of that. I'm here to simply catch everybody up on things happening and that kind of thing, and go from there. But again, if you're just on here to cause trouble or anything like that, I ain't got time for it, and I won't put up with it. So just the way it goes. Jeanette just messaged me. I think she's still trying to find the podcast. But good evening, Mr. Hell. Good evening, Miss B. Hope you're well as well. I'm getting better. I still got a lump in my throat right there, and it's driving me nuts. I can't get rid of it, but we're feeling better, doing better, getting there anyway. So we do appreciate you joining us on the podcast. Sport Cat's in the house. Hello, Sport Cat. Still going to get on Sport Cat's podcast one day soon, and we'll talk about. Oh, there's Jeanette. We'll talk about some things. I don't know what we'll talk about, but we'll talk about something when I get on there. Anyways, we do appreciate you joining us today. Remember to like, share, comment. Like I said, share it out now. Jeanette's going to share me out. I appreciate that very, very much. Tonight's podcast is going to touch on a few things, and then a major topic that we'll talk about is this past week's county commission meeting. And just warn you ahead of time, sometimes those podcasts go a little boring or what have you, but do have some exciting things that are coming up that I'm working on, and I've been working on. I thought that I would have some information to share today, but my open records request is kind of dragging on a little bit longer than I thought it would, especially after my phone call last week on Thursday, I believe it was, and they said that they were almost done with the information I requested, and I should have it soon. So I called today on. Uh, I called today to see if it was ready, and nobody answered, and I left a message, and nobody called me back. So I'll be back on that tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. But like I said, they told me Thursday that it was almost ready. So again, just trying to find out information for everybody to be able to form your own opinion and that kind of thing. But anyways, hope everybody's doing well out there. We'll give everybody just a couple more minutes to join us on here before we jump into too much. If you haven't noticed, you didn't hear me a minute ago. Again, I'm sorry for being late. I was trying to get everything situated. I am now on Facebook. I am now on YouTube under the Dirt Podcast, and I am now on Rumble once again under the Dirt Podcast UC on Rumble. We do appreciate you watching on any of those. Remember, if you're writing messages or questions or anything on YouTube or Rumble, I do not see those as we're live. I don't think. I don't remember because it's been so long since. Oh wait, no, Sportcat's on YouTube. So hey, how about that? YouTube, I'll see comments from YouTube and Facebook. Rumble, I'm not sure on. Normally, I have to go back and look and see anything from Rumble, but I'm still learning all this stuff. I don't know all this fancy technology. But anyways, how's everybody doing out there tonight? Good? I hope so. Again, if you start seeing me clicking on some things or what have you, like I said, I'm not afraid to answer questions if they're reasonable and that kind of thing. But what I'm hearing is we're going to have some trolls and such from different campaigns and such to start getting on my podcast and just trying to cause trouble. And I'm not here for all that. I'm not afraid to have a conversation. I'm not afraid to answer questions, but I won't put up with nonsense. And this is my podcast. If you want to rant, rave, and cause trouble or whatever, start your own podcast. You're not going to do it on mine. That's just the way I look at it. So, my opinion, feel free to make yours. Anyways, liking the weather. How about y'all? It's been, you'll cover me on the YouTube. I appreciate it. I need a moderator. Well, I shouldn't have to have a moderator, but I agree. I don't. I mean, as far as comments go and things like that, people can, write, their feelings on a candidate or a situation or anything like that. I don't mind that. I don't mind, it's when it gets to where it's attacking each other on the comments or what have you on the podcast. I don't want, those kinds of things to go on. I obviously don't want name calling to go on or, nastiness to go on. Obviously, you don't want that on your podcast. But we're going to do what we can do. And I understand. Good evening, Mr. Wyrick. I understand that some people don't like the podcast, whether it's you just don't like me, whether it's you don't like me exposing the things that I expose. You don't like the fact that I don't support, specific people that you support, whatever. I don't mind that. I don't mind the difference. That's what makes things so good, is that we can disagree about things and that we can have conversations about things. But I don't like the nonsense part of it, and I won't put up the nonsense part of it. And that's also why, if you've ever followed me on um, Facebook or anything like that, you see that I don't post very often, and you'll rarely ever see me comment on somebody else's post or anything like that, other than happy birthday or something like that. But I don't get uh, into things like that, just because I don't like dealing in the drama part of things. I'm one of those people that just want the facts and what have you, and and just go from there. But when some of this stuff that goes on Facebook, and some people send me stuff, and I'm sure at some point in time, while they're sending me stuff, they get a little perturbed at me for not commenting on it or what have you. I just don't do it, and it's not to bash anybody or put anything down. I look at what everybody sends me. I just don't comment on a whole lot. It's just not something that I've ever done, and I actually didn't even have Facebook until I ran for county commission last time. Just a few months before that, is when I got my Jason Mills page, and my son Jacob, he set all that up. He set up my Rumble. He set up an email. He set up. That's why if you email me under my email, Jason for Union County TN at Gmail, my response back to you is going to come from Jason Odell, because Odell is my son's last name, and he wasn't thinking when he set it up, and he set it up as Jason Odell. And so I've never fixed it or anything like that. So that's why it appears that way. It's nothing shady or anything like that I've done. It's just he was wanting to run my technology part of my campaign at the time, and he set up the Facebook Jason Mills. He set up my Rumble. He set up I think Twitter, now X. I think he set them all up. But my Gmail he set up. He just used his own last name. But I appreciate everything he does for me and did for me, and that kind of thing. So there's just a little bit of a story for that. Let's see. I see enough evil BS on local pages. I learned to scroll. It's not worth my energy to mess with all the hate. I look at I look at a lot of things on Facebook, and I read the comments. I just don't comment. And one of the things that I find interesting, or gets under my skin, or what have you, or whatever you want to call it, is when the same people start, like Kathy Holloway, for instance. Every post that John Hale or Jeanette puts up about Kathy or whatever, the same people always put laughing faces, or not a woman, or all these stupid comments and whatever. You're feel free to have your opinion. Well, number one, normally they're always anonymous, and I think that's hilarious. But you can have your opinion. Feel free to have your opinion. Everybody should have your own opinion. But you make yourself look like an idiot when you're putting the laughing faces, and you're doing all this stupid stuff. And it's not only on one, but it's it's every page, and it's every post, and it just drives me nuts. And I'm like, these people kill me. And like I said, it just makes me think how childish you have to be. If you don't like the post, don't put anything on it. just scroll past it. Like B says, I just scroll past it. You don't have to put a laughing face or anything or a crying face or whatever. Every post, go through Facebook and look at it. And it's just, and it's not one person's. It's like I say, I see it on Jeanette's. I see it on John Hell's post, on my post, on Kathy's post, all these posts. And you'll see, again, like Jeanette says, like I just said, it's always somebody anonymous that does it. But then you go to, these other folks' pages that are running for office, and the same anonymous person might have a good comment and what have you, or those kinds of things. And it's just funny, and it makes me think that it's somebody from that campaign. But either way, I don't have a problem with somebody having an opinion. I don't have a problem with somebody expressing their opinion. But when you're doing it over and over and over and over and over again with nonsense, like I said, not a woman, not this, not that, and not with the crying faces or the laughing faces. You keep doing it over and over and over again, and then you lose your effect. Like at first it was okay. You don't like this candidate. Fine. Well, now you just look like an idiot because you've done it 50 million times. Anyways, I digress. I appreciate everybody joining us tonight on the Dirt Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Mills. I appreciate you being here tonight. You could be anywhere else, but you're right here watching this podcast. So thank you very much. And like I said, if you just joined us, I've got a few things that we're just going to discuss real quick. We've got some things coming up that I'm working on. And hopefully we'll have that by next week's podcast, at least some of it. But tonight we're going to talk about the county commission meeting and that kind of thing. And wondering, could the county commission sit facing citizens at these meetings? I believe facial expressions tell a lot about how people react to questions and voting on issues. Rolling of eyes, smirks, or laughing, all good stuff. Yeah, they like to sit up there and make eyes and laugh and different things when people are commenting, during public comments or what have you. I've called them out when I've been up there giving my speeches. If anybody's been in attendance when I've done them, but I've been asking that same thing with the sound system. You can't hear what they say half the time, but I've said that for years now, that county commission should be facing the audience, like most every other city council or county commission does. But the answer I always get is there's not enough room. I've asked about, like I said, the sound system, so we can actually hear what they're saying. They don't want us to hear what they're saying, so they make sure that the microphones are far enough away or whatever, so you don't hear what they're saying. And then I've asked the same thing of why doesn't county government record their own meetings, video. They could put it on their Facebook page. They could put it on their website. But instead we let Marty Smith, the Union News Leader reporter, we let her record them all and go live and that kind of thing. And if you remember, Mayor Bailey made a big deal at one point in time that he went and bought a camera with his own money and was going to, start recording these meetings for the county himself and this, that, and the other. That lasted a few meetings and then quickly went away. Supposedly the battery didn't last long enough or whatever the excuse was. And of course, he gave the camera to Marty so Marty could record it, but kind of defeated the purpose. But either way, at least he attempted. I'll give him credit for that. He attempted to solve that problem, but It didn't. But I don't think that a outside media source, they have every right to record and do all that. I'm not saying that she can't, but I'm saying, my opinion, that county commission or local government should be recording their meetings themselves and posting them on their own Facebook or website or what have you. It shouldn't be relied upon the local snooze paper. And again, they're more like, I go live there normally when I go. Last couple times I haven't, but that's perfectly fine. Newspapers wants to go live, perfectly fine. But point being, county commission or local government should be responsible for recording their own meetings and all those kinds of things. That's my opinion. Feel free to make yours. Again, I agree. There should be a way for county commission, and I know there's 16 commissioners in that courtroom and what have you, but we should be able to see their faces. We should be able to look at them eye to eye as they're making those votes to raise our taxes or whatever the case may be. We should be able to see, what their expressions are, like you say, and that kind of thing. City of Manorville does record meetings, according to John Hale. You can't hear anything when she posts. That's not a dig on her. It's a statement on the truth. Absolutely. Like I said, they've got their microphones and all that. They make sure that they're on when the meeting's going, but they push them away from them, or they talk really low. Certain ones that will talk loud enough that you can hear, but most of the time, most of them don't have the microphone where you can hear what they're saying. Of course, they've got their side comments or conversations that they're having while the meeting's going on, and all those kinds of things that I'm sure they don't want anybody to hear, whatever. But again, I'm not digging on them. It's just the facts. Like you say, it's just the facts. You can't hear, you can't hear. You should be able to look them in the eye when they're raising your taxes for the umpteenth year in a row and all those kinds of things. All right. So before we get into the county commission meeting, I was contacted by some citizens that want it. Only the shifty ones don't want to look you in the eye. I was contacted by some citizens, and they asked me if they compiled a list of questions for the sheriff candidates, would I send them to the sheriff candidates again? And so I had them send all the questions. All the questions got put on. Oop, we went black there for a second. So we got all the questions, and we did send all those questions, just like I did last time. There was no shady business going on or what have you. And there's a lot of questions. I give you that. There's 30-something questions. Not my questions, didn't come from me. I did not put one question on there of my own. These were all citizens' questions, and I did that on purpose. Why? Because last time my questions that I wrote, some of the candidates said that they weren't going to answer my questions. Some of the candidates said that I was a liar and blah 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 and all the stuff, and that they weren't dealing with me and all this. So even though I'm a voter just like everybody else is, and that they want to claim that I already made up my mind who I'm voting for, they don't know that. They don't know that for a fact. I haven't. Everybody could change their mind at any time, but instead of answering my questions, they choose to do other things. And matter of fact, I got word something that happened at the rodeo. Allegedly, let's say allegedly, because I wasn't there, but allegedly somebody went up and asked a sheriff candidate why they didn't answer my questions. And the response they got, again, allegedly, was they weren't going to answer my stupid questions. And so, apparently a voter's question, a citizen's questions are stupid and they don't want questions from you. So don't try to ask them. But anyway, so I on purpose did not write any questions on this list. And again, same thing as last time. I sent it to all three candidates at the exact same time, basically. And that was on Sunday, I believe, that I sent them. And so it's still early. We'll give them time. Not rushing them, anything like that. Give them time. And I figured by next podcast, maybe I'll have some of the answers to these questions. Maybe I won't. Maybe none of them will answer. Maybe one of them will. Maybe two of them will. But I wanted to make it clear tonight, though, that so there wasn't no shady stuff going on. That said that I didn't send it to them all, and everything last time they didn't see no questions and blah 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 that I got accused of. So in transparency, up front, before I even expect answers. So here's Kathy Holloway, Sunday at 5:13. There's the start of the questions. And wrong one. Got ahead of myself. And so she got the questions. She responded to make sure that was all the questions. Again, like I said, a lot of questions. There's 34. And she responded. And she has let me know that she's working on all these answers. And she expects to soon have those answers to me. So again, all transparency, sent on Sunday at 5:13, I believe I said. Let's go back. Yeah, 5:13 on Sunday. And again, just being transparent, like I tried to do. Let Jerry Lawson, sheriff, that's his campaign, that's his picture. Sunday, 5:13, sent basically the same exact time. Same questions, didn't change anything, didn't, no hoodoo, no shady stuff, even though they say I'm dirty. But there you go. There's his little picture down there. I'm using my mouse. I know y'all can't see it, but there's his little picture down there. So he did receive these questions. Have not heard anything back. Not a, I work on the answers, not a, nothing. No response at all. So there's that. He was the last one to look at it. Rick Carter, let's see. Again, 5:13, exact same time. Elect Rick Carter, Union County. There's the questions. And like I said, being transparent as I can be. Rick Carter was actually the first one to look at these questions, or again, somebody from his campaign, whoever runs this page for him. Ultimately, he's responsible for this page. It's his page. He's the candidate. He's responsible for it. So Rick Carter, Union County Sheriff, elect Rick Carter, Union County Sheriff. His picture down there. He was the first one that's seen these questions. No response. Don't know if he's going to answer any of them, all of them, or what have you. But again, Kathy is the only one that I've heard back from on these questions. I'll post the questions after the podcast here. If you want to read them on the Dirt Podcast Facebook page. So everybody can read them. Again, I know there's a lot of questions, but again, just being transparent, these questions came from citizens. These are not my questions. So hopefully they'll answer citizens' questions and, leave me out of it. And then, like I said, I will hopefully next podcast I'll have answers at least from one or two or maybe all of them, and we'll go through every question and that kind of thing. Maybe Silly Billy will give them a cheat sheet. Good evening, Brantley. Hope you're recovering from your long walk yesterday. But anyways, again, fair as fair can be. I didn't change any of the questions. Send them at the exact same time. All of them have received the questions. All of them have looked at the questions. And now the ball's in their court. And they can go on and say what they want to say, that they're not answering my questions. And I'm not worth responding to. Again, these questions came from citizens, not me. So then if they say something like that, then that's what they think about citizens, I guess. They say that I can't be fair. I've proved time and time again that I've been fair to every candidate that's been involved in this podcast. They can say that I can, what was it? They said I would change their answer or something. I've not changed anything. I've read it exactly as it's been sent to me. Anytime I've got anything or answers or anything like that from anybody. I don't know if Kathy's on here. Kathy, if you're on here, can you answer that question from Dennis Kaufman there? How many times has Kathy been hurt while working with Union County Sheriff's Department? I don't know if she's on here or not, but if she is, or if she isn't, I'll get that question answered for you as quickly as I can. But maybe she's on here and she can answer it herself. I don't know. I can't see who's on the podcast, just so y'all know. Unless y'all comment or put a like or something like that on here, I can't see who's watching. So for anybody that wants to say that I do things on purpose for certain people to see and what have you, I can't see who's on here. Like I said, unless you comment or put a like or something on it, is the only way that I know you're here. And so these podcasts aren't being voiced out for any particular person at any particular time. You're very welcome. Again, if Miss Kathy doesn't answer, I will get that answer to you as quickly as I can. All right. So that's that. I am working on another thing that involves some candidates and trying to get some information. And hopefully I'll have that by next podcast. I was hoping to have that tonight. Like I said, I did an open records request. They said it was almost done, and that was Thursday of last week. And I called today, and nobody answered or called me back. So hopefully by next week, we'll have that information, and we might have some interesting stuff to talk about then. And hopefully we'll have the answers to those questions, hopefully from all three candidates, because, well, I can't say that. There's a reason why we want these answers, and it's not because I want them. It's for a different reason, but we'll go into that later if we get answers from 1, 2, or 3 of the candidates. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's talk about the county commission meeting. Those commissioners that were absent, at the last county commission meeting, which was last week, was Danny Cook, Angela Connor Murphy. Both of those were absent. Everybody else was there. The next county commission meeting is going to be on Tuesday, May the 26th. That's the next meeting. It's moved around a little bit. Hurt on the job or hurt feelings? Well, I might just ask her both of those. just to get answers. We'll ask both. All right. So some of the things that got discussed was funding for Sport Cat. Candidate scared to answer the citizens' questions is a coward, not worthy of being your sheriff. I agree. And when you got candidates, you're going to get me on a tangent again, but when you got candidates that are belittling voters, just because you have voters that you don't necessarily like, you choose to treat them like dirt, which would kind of give you a preview of how they would run the sheriff's department. If they got somebody that they don't like, they won't answer to you. They won't answer your question, or they won't talk to you like they would normally talk. That just goes to show me anyway, that if they want to disregard you as a voter when they're trying to become an office holder, in this case sheriff, for instance, then that's just going to show you how they're going to run the department if they did get elected. And that's a scary thought, and you need to think about that. If how they treat people now is how they're going to treat people if they're elected, and that's a very scary thought. Kathy is here. Kathy, we've got a young viewer here that wants to know how many times you've been hurt while working with Union County Sheriff's Department. And then Miss B there said hurt on the job or hurt feelings. So let's ask both. How many times? Sorry. Thank you for asking the question. Hurt 3 times while she was on duty. And how many times were your feelings hurt? Since Miss B put that on there. Also, I'm trying to figure out what Jerry is going to do differently if he's elected than what he is doing now as administration. There's a lot of turnover of officers and rejects hired from other counties. I agree. And I've asked that question. Actually, I've asked that question a couple of times, but one of the times I could tell you exactly where I was at the Lincoln Day dinner. And I asked Jerry why things aren't being changed since he's over the jail and this, that, and the other, and why we're not using a body scanner that we paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for, and why we're not doing searches like we should. And I asked this question, and the response back to me was the sheriff won't let him. And so in my mind, and this is just my opinion, feel free to make it yours, but in my mind, if you know that there's something being done wrong in a situation or a job that may cause death, like drugs getting put in the jail, or what have you, and if you're claiming that the sheriff won't let you, then why do you still work there? Why would you put yourself in that position to where somebody, and this goes for the other candidate, Rick Carter, he still works there too. And I understand having a job and those answers, right? Those excuses. I get that. But if you're in a position where it could cost somebody their lives, and that's not going to the extreme either. Let me remind you that we've had several deaths in Union County Jail in recent history. So to put yourself in that position and say, okay, well, I can't do anything because the sheriff won't let me. Well, you can do something. You can file a complaint with the state or the federal government yourself. You can quit, and you can talk to the media. You can come out and publicly say in front of everybody, hey, I work for the sheriff's department. This is what's going on at the jail. He won't let me use the body scanner, and he won't let me do searches like I want. He won't let me run the office like he wants. Or like I think, it should be, even though I'm assistant chief deputy over the jail. And if I'm the detective in Carter's case, I'm a detective and I'm doing this and this and this. Well, you are representing a office that is supposed to be public safety, but you're refusing to safely, securely, like you took an oath to when you raised that hand, to uphold the Constitution. You're refusing to do what you're supposed to do just because the sheriff won't let you. And that doesn't fly with me. That's not a good excuse to me. There's things that you can do now, not when you get elected, if you get elected, but there's things you can do right now that would solidify the fact that you're saying, if I get elected, I will do this, 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 and this, and I'll make the jail better. Why ain't you doing it now? That's my opinion. Feel free to make yours. And I could go on and on about that, but I won't. Let's see. I miss some. They do work for us. I say that all the time. My favorite thing to say is we got to remind them that they work for us. We don't bow down to them. Thank you, Kathy. What has Jerry got to campaign on? His department is a mess. Exactly. But he blames it all on Billy, and people eat it up. It's Billy's fault. It's Billy's fault. It's Billy's fault. But they don't give him the responsibility that he's supposed to have as assistant chief deputy. And the same thing with the other one, as a detective, as a ranking member of that, staff. There should be more being done, and those questions need to be asked when you go to these meet and greets or rallies or whatever. These questions need to be asked. Why aren't you doing anything now? And when they say, well, Billy won't let me, because apparently I've been told both campaigns say the same thing. Billy won't let me. I've been told, like I said, both campaigns have used that excuse. BS. That's nonsense. There's other things you can do without Billy's approval. And again, file a complaint with the state. But you won't, because it's a good old boy system. Anyways, moving on. Wasn't Sherry's there let go by former Junior Loy? I believe that's been proven. Was that while on patrol, Kathy? At some point, the tables might get flipped if they don't remember who they worked for. One time, Kathy says, one time was on patrol. The other 2 times was in the school system. Sport Cat says, Carter, his experience would be better as chief jailer. That's where his experience is on his resume. I'm glad you point that out. A lot of people don't look at that stuff. And I could talk about his resume, but we won't. We'll save that for my open records request. Thank you for answering, Kathy. I'm just trying to see who I need to support. Transparency is important. At this point, I'm supporting Kathy. let's see. Jeanette says all people are still there working that was there when this happened. Jerry was there when Justin Davis died. He was on video, them loading boy in ambulance. Carter telling Ruby Harrell when he's elected, he's going to solve her son missing. Why not solve it now? Jerry going to hire Billy as chief and his daddy's jail administrator. I've said that all along. And when I heard that, and I've seen a post or a comment by Mr. Carter that he's going to find this missing person and all this kind of stuff once he's elected. I've seen that post or comment. And just like Jeanette says, why is he saying all this stuff when he could be doing the job now? Again, makes you wonder, are you just blowing smoke and mirrors just so you can get more and more votes? Because people eat it up. You know, you tell them about this sunshine and rainbows, and people just eat it up. But they don't think about, okay, well, you're already working in the department. Why ain't you doing it now? Why aren't you working on it now? But instead, you get your blinders on, you put the smoke and mirrors up, and then people just eat it up. And, he said he's going to have this great answer for the drugs in the jail. He's going to do this. And this is all, all of them. They all have plans what they're going to do. And the ones that work there, that's just my question. Why aren't you doing it now? Why you got to wait? Oh, Billy won't let me. Billy won't let me. Don't blame everything on Billy. You're a big boy. You put your pants on. You took an oath to protect and serve. Why are you not protecting and serving? Why are you not looking for this missing person? Why are you not doing that? Why are you not keeping the drugs out of the jail? Why are you not stopping the fires that are going on in the jail? Why are you doing these things or not doing these things? That's somebody says that dog don't hunt. And that's just the way I look at it. Something's not adding up. 2 + 2 ain't equaling 4 in that situation. And I'm not being disrespectful, and I'm not saying they don't do a good job or anything like that. I'm saying they use this excuse and it's BS. You can't blame Billy for everything. And to say, well, I when I get elected, I'll do it. No, do it now. It's bullshit. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that, but it's BS. Gets me aggravated. I'm sorry. All right. One more question. How many convictions do you have with Union County Sheriff's Department, or how many arrest warrants? He shouldn't have took the position. Too fast. He shouldn't have took the position if he couldn't make the county better. I don't think it's fair to ask how many convictions a cop has, because judges and lawyers make those decisions, not arrest him. Maybe ask how many arrests were made. Carter trying to take credit for TBI finding the woman in Texas on death here. I think it was to help him get elected as sheriff. TBI has the info now. There's things going on in the background about certain things. We just got to wait for the news to come out or the words to come out. Again, folks, I'm digging. I'm sending open records requests and that kind of thing. We'll see what happens. One thing about me, good, bad, or ugly, I'm going to let you know what I find out. Always have, always will. Mr. Wynn, good evening. Ain't none of them going to change anything. I don't care if they are in there for 20 years. Just need to deal with it and not get into any trouble, and you won't have to worry about it. I'm not voting this time around, and I don't care what they say or do. My family doesn't get in trouble. People will look you straight in the face and lie. They all do it until they get in the office. Union County isn't going to change. no matter who's in there. I'm hoping that somebody changes it. Mr. Wynn, you've been here at my house and that kind of thing. I know you're probably talking about sheriff or the sheriff's race or what have you, but I hope, as far as county commission goes, and I know you're in the third and I'm in the fourth, but Mr. Wynn, I hope that you don't apply that to the same case as me if I got elected, because I hope to do a lot of good and I hope to change a lot of things. And, it takes more than just me to do that. But I think, in my mind, I've proved over these last 4 or 5 years that I have fought for what I feel like is right for the citizens of Union County, even though I'm not elected. And so if I am elected, I would be able to help even more. I fought to keep property taxes low. I fought the wheel tax. I fought to keep the constables. I fought for the kids in school not being treated fairly and being bullied. I've done all these other. Yep, and we're spinning again. My internet keeps going on and off. I guess, but anyways, I think I have a proven track record of not being an elected official, but still doing a lot of things that I feel like have been good for Union County. But like I said, you can have your own opinion. But Mr. Wynn, I think you know, at least with me, I'm a little different. They must stick a pin in their pants to hold the whole backbone in place. Again, folks, I'm not trying to pick on any of them. It's just things that I don't understand. And I want to look through the BS and find the truth or the facts on things. I want to be able to, like I said, when they say, "Oh, the sheriff won't let me," then what are you doing otherwise? And that's just the way I look at it. It's like you still could be doing something, but you're choosing not to. But you want to rely on the excuse that Billy won't let me, and that's just a BS excuse. I just hate the people using churches and kids for political gains. Elect Jason Mills 4th, Dunsonbury 5th District Commission, and Kathy Holloway for sheriff. I appreciate that, Mr. Brantley. Mr. Wynn, you can keep hoping, brother. I'm talking about all of it, brother. People are two-faced. I've witnessed it for many years. You might be 99% going to lie just to get in there. Like I said, I hope people don't look at me that way, because like I said, I've got a proven track record for these past years of doing stuff and not being elected. Does Billy tell detective what and how to do their investigations? I'm not sure exactly how Billy runs his department as far as their investigations go and that kind of thing. I know in my experience, being an officer, when a call comes in for a crime and you go and you do the investigation, I've never once been told by anybody, my sergeant, lieutenant, captain, all the way up the chain. I've never once been told not to investigate a crime. That would seem to be a violation of the oath I took. Did some investigations take longer than maybe they should have? Yeah, probably. As an officer, do you get to investigate everything as thoroughly as you normally would know. Normally, those of you who've never been in law enforcement and don't understand, the initial officer shows up on scene and maybe doesn't have all the evidence that they need right yet, and there needs to be a continued investigation. So that initial responding officer takes a report, and it gets sent up to whatever detective is maybe working on property crimes or sexual crimes or you know, murder cases or what have you. And then, sometimes, unfortunately, those cases build up and they don't get all the attention that they probably should. But missing persons, all these cases come in, and I can't speak to, like I said, how Billy runs the department, but if you took an oath, you should be investigating everything as best as you could. And if, again, same scenario, if Billy is telling a officer or detective not to investigate a crime, and that investigator is not doing something about not being able to investigate a crime, then they're not upholding their oath either. And the excuse of, well, I work for the sheriff. No, you work for the people. The sheriff may be the sheriff, and if he's doing something that isn't kosher, then you need to be doing something about it. Which is my opinion. So, anyways, let's see. Knows Billy only comes to meetings over new jail. If he's not going to be sheriff involved, why show up? Now, for these years, Jerry going to make him chief. Just telling the truth. I said you might do what you say, but I can talk to people and tell if they are telling lies. Who do you think is the best candidate? Mr. Wynn. Who's the two going to blame once they get elected and these things are not being taken care of? Our investigator named Dan, he does his job. He said he don't care what sheriff says. None of them are, Mr. Wynn says. All right, back to the county commission meeting. So the question got brought up about the funding of the drug rehab center. The mayor says that's going to be handled by the Opioid Abatement Board. And if you want to attend, that board meeting is on the fourth Friday at 9 a.m. I know a lot of people work at that time, so it's a little hard for people to go to that meeting. But if you can attend, that would be the meeting that they will be discussing the funding and building of the drug rehab center there on the property that they bought for the new jail. And if you remember, part of the contract for the sale of the jail, or sorry, for the sale of the property for the new jail, part of that contract says that the county must build a drug rehab center on that property that was donated, the extra 3 acres, I believe it was. And so the county agreed to that, and so therefore we have to do that. But again, the mayor says that will be handled by the Opioid Abatement Board, and the Opioid Abatement Board gets funding from a few different places, but a lot of their money comes from the judgment that came down against the pharmacies and that kind of thing with the opioids, which is why it's called the Opioid Abatement Board. All right. Some good news for those folks that live in Luttrell. they're working on a contract for a Boys and Girls Club to do some programs there at Luttrell Elementary. So hopefully that comes through. Boys and Girls Club has been talked about quite a bit around here. Boys and Girls Club was willing to come back in 2022 when I was running for county commission. Then I had them agreeing to come at the time, and unfortunately I did not get elected, and so the mayor at that point in time said he wasn't interested. Let's see. And then they went to the school board shortly after the last election, and the school board and the Boys and Girls Club couldn't work out an agreement at that time. So, all right. So they sent out for bids for the Big Ridge, the Speedwell, community centers, and the Sharps Chapel EMS building. They got bids in. They didn't like the bids that did come in, so they're going to rebid those projects. That's going to happen on May the 21st at 2 p.m. And then the construction committee will meet that night and go over those bids that come in and decide if they're going to accept any of those. But they did send those out for bid. And then the Maynardville EMS station is moving ahead to purchase the old Dr. Mark's pediatric building up there. And so that's where the new EMS building is going to be. If you remember from past meetings, that EMS building was originally supposed to be rebuilt where the current EMS building is, and they got a deal that I believe Andrew Reed talked to these folks that own that old pediatric building, and Union County has agreed to purchase that. Let's see. Y'all getting me through these comments here. Did your wife used to work jail? Do we know who the deputy chief is going to be for each candidate? I've only heard of one candidate saying anything about chief deputies or assistant chief deputies, and he's actually thrown out several different names. So I'm not going to say who or what because I don't really know. Because I think it's just whichever way the wind blows at the moment. But the other candidates have not, that I know of, that came out and said anything about who their chief deputies are going to be. But Jerry didn't bring plans again. He said he was going to bring last meeting. Yes, she did. Billy's first term, she quit. So sorry for all the people on City Water. I feel for you all. Okay, I thought so. Thanks for the answer. Which one? Like I said, I'm not going to say who those chief deputies were because there's been this particular candidate has said several different ones, and so I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes as far as what their campaign or what their sheriff's department will look like until an actual concrete solid plan is put out. So I'm going to reserve that comment. Highway 33 update. It's supposed to be completed by fall of 2026. However, that's been according to TDOT, the mayor says, has been updated and is now not going to be completed until February of 2027. It was also asked about the dispute between Union County and David Meyer over the property up by the health department. And the answer to that dispute was it's still in process. So we'll have to see what happens. Ashley Mike, I believe, is the one that asked about that. Kathy, who are you going to have as your chief deputy since you're on here, please? That is a good question, I think. Again, I'll let Kathy answer that if she wants to while she's on here. That is completely up to her. Ashley Mike also said she was contacted by a lot. I'm not dismissing your question for Kathy there. I just have a lot. You can't see it. I have a lot. You can't see it, but I have a lot to get through here. I'm just trying to get through it. Ashley Mike contacted by a lot of concerned folks that are not happy with how the farmers market is being ran and the contract that the new contract that the farmers market is trying to get county to agree to. Sidney Jesse said the same, that he had several folks contact him with concerns and requesting that he does not vote to allow the moving forward with the contract with the farmers market. And again, folks, don't confuse the actual place, the farmers market, with the farmers market nonprofit. The farmers market nonprofit is the one that holds the farmers market, and they collect the monies and do all those kinds of things. They're actually the ones, the nonprofit farmers market are actually the ones that are putting the kitchen in down there and all those kinds of things. And I think that's kind of what the dispute is, because they're not really paying any rent or anything, and the county, as taxpayers, are paying the electric bills down there and all those kinds of things. And so some of the county commission meetings are some of the county commissioners are like, hold up, wait a minute, something isn't jiving here. And so that's kind of where they're headed, and they are going to meet down there. They're going to have a little get together down there before they go over this contract before the next county commission meeting. The answer that Kathy says is, I haven't promised anybody a job. They will fill out an application and be interviewed, and a background check. Background check. I'm going to stop. I got to put a little mark here so I know where I stopped at. That just brought something up to my attention that I meant to talk about, and I didn't. Jason, do you know the last time there has been an assistant chief in Union County? We have one. You have one technically now. There's been a few here and there. They normally don't stay long. So I'd have to look into that more. I don't have an exact answer. They are one on here I wouldn't trust in a shit house with a muzzle on, and she knows who she is. Alrighty then. Not opening that can of worms. Anyways, that brings me up. So with the background checks and that kind of thing. So at the Rick Carter meet and greet that happened in the 3rd, I believe it was in the 3rd, a question got asked about was he going to drug test or randomly drug screen his employees, the other deputies and such. And the answer that I thought was interesting and gave a lot of insight to how he's going to run the department if he got elected, was that he didn't know he had to check into it and get back. And that's a very concerning thing for for somebody running for sheriff to run. Because why do you got to check into it? That doesn't make sense to me. You're sheriff. You're running your department. A lot of these jobs out here randomly drug screen. A lot of these police departments randomly drug screen. What do you got to check on? Are you trying to avoid answering the question? Are you trying to avoid? Do you know something that's going on in the? Do you know something that's going on in the department now that you don't want to? That you don't want out there? What's the reason that you can't? That'd be an easy one for me to answer. As sheriff, absolutely, I'm going to randomly drug screen my deputies or whatever. As a owner of a business, as a CEO of a business, whatever. If it was something to worry about, why would you hesitate to answer that question? That's just puzzling to me, and I don't understand what the hesitation is to say yes. I'm going to randomly drug screen them. I just don't understand. Will the other candidates drug test everyone? Kathy has already came out from day one, or at least as far as I know, from day one, said that every person that applies to work at the sheriff's department will be have a background check. We'll have to go through the application and interview process, and will be randomly drug tested. And that was one of the reasons, or one of the things I liked about her campaign, which, like I said, kind of drew me to that. Sport Cat says, I've been in public safety for 35 years. Drug tests are common and required. Makes you wonder why you wouldn't know or want to. That's what I'm saying. I just, what's the hesitation on answering that question? That's a no-brainer. Absolutely, I'm going to. It wouldn't have took me 2 seconds to answer that question. Anyways, back to county commission. So, again, going back to the farmers market, Bailey says he wants to move forward with the farmers market contract. Kenny Moore said the school board wants to take over the kitchen at the farmers market, and that the farmers market charged the school thousands of dollars to use to use the kitchen over there, because the school did use the kitchen at the farmers market for a period of time when I believe that the farmers market started charging them so much money that the school board didn't find it feasible for them to continue to pay for it. So Mr. Clay said that they went ahead and start purchasing kitchen equipment on their own and started doing these classes in the school instead of the farmers market and that kind of thing. So the plan, I think, in the grand scheme of things, was that the farmers market putting this kitchen in, that they would start getting income from the TCAT and the Walter State College, that the school would use the kitchen, and then people like you and me could rent out the kitchen too if we needed to, and whatever that fee might be, and those kinds of things. I think that's the plan for the farmers market to raise money. But a lot of the county commissioners want to say, well, that's not fair to the citizens of the county, because it's a county owned property. Therefore, it's a publicly owned property by us taxpayers. that they shouldn't have so much control over the kitchen in the farmers market at the Heritage Park there. And so I think that's a lot of the things that these commissioners have a problem with that contract. All right. So let's go jail. So the architect has let Sidney Jesse know that the plans to update the plans are going to cost $52,500, which we talked about on a previous podcast. And the architect found it so kind in their heart that they're willing to put off that $52,500 to the back end and waive it up front to update the plans, and then they'll charge us later. So again, folks, this is just a first step. And remember, I've said this many, many times. The funding of this new jail is going to come out of your pocket. And no drug testing. Sheriff Breeding said at Big Ridge Community that Union County doesn't have a drug problem. Tell that to the mobile needle guy. I remember that neighborhood watch meeting when he said that. And I talked about it on the podcast, but that's a nice reminder there, Mr. Brantley. I appreciate that. So anyways, so I've said for months and months and months now that this new jail is going to cost you money. It's going to raise your taxes. And I've been slammed and called a liar and all these things many times because I've said that. And I told everybody, mark my words, this is going to happen. And so in the jail committee meeting that happened immediately before the county commission meeting, Sidney Jesse said that they're looking at a 2-cent raise in your property taxes as a way of funding this. Well, look at there. Already talking about raising your property taxes. But I was a liar. I was wrong. It wasn't going to happen. And there you have it. At least a 2-cent property tax increase. So we'll have to keep on top of it. We'll have to keep following it and see how it goes and see what it actually shakes out at, because it's going to happen. And this coming month, no later than June, because they've got to have their budget in by July 1, and they've got to have, figured out what they're going to increase your taxes to. So it'll be coming up pretty quickly. Who's working the drugs? They had a detective. There's been so much different things change at the sheriff's department lately. I don't know who's working what, to be honest with you. So I can't give you an exact answer to that. They're looking at a construction manager, not a general contractor, because supposedly the construction manager is going to save them money on the construction of the new jail. They're sending RFQs for an interested party that would be interested in being the construction manager. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Gerald Simmons does not want to send out the RFQs yet because the county doesn't even own the property yet. The mayor says it passed a probate problem that they had. Now that the county has to pay for an appraisal of the property. So the minor child that's involved with probate situation is fairly compensated. So we're doing all this stuff. We're making all these plans, spending millions of dollars. Let me remind you, on a property that we do not even own as a county yet. Yeah, we have a contract and yada, yada, yada. But just on the architect, we've already spent $2 million on. So let that sink in for a minute. On a property we don't even own yet. And the judge that's over the probate will have to approve the appraisal and all this. So, like I said, the minor child is fairly compensated. Jerry Lawson was there to talk about the Luttrell Industrial Park. He said that if he was given the property by the county, he could get a grant for what the property appraised for, and for no cost for the city of Luttrell. He could also get more if money was spent to clear the land and those kinds of things. And he could apply for those grants as early as January 2027 if the county go ahead and give him that property. He wants to do a football, soccer field. He wants to do 4 baseball fields with concession stand in the middle. They're talking about a 5-year deal with the county if nothing is done within those 5 years. The city of Luttrell would turn that property back over to the county. Eddie Simpson said he wanted something in writing on how he was going to have it funded. And then it got a little interesting. Then it got a little heated because all of a sudden, Eddie Simpson and Jerry Lawson started a confrontation with one another. And Eddie Simpson said that he asked Jerry for an answer or for a response on something that was unrelated. He's waited for 2 years for that response and still has not got the response. And that went back and forth a little bit. And then finally they got it back under control. And they ended up asking to sell the property to the city of Luttrell. Eddie Simpson made the motion to sell the property for $150,000. Don Flatford seconded that motion. And it's for around about 36 acres. That did pass. And so the city of Luttrell has 1 year to come up with $150,000 to purchase this 36 acres. And city of Luttrell again wants to turn that into a sports complex, just like the county was supposed to do, but decided against it and sent the money back that they had the grant for. How about all law enforcement officers, before being considered an officer, have a legitimate academic background, definitely have to pass a physical fitness test? I heard President Trump was putting the physical fitness test back into the military, so that might not be a bad idea either. Then I don't know how he will do a grant without him paying for it, but now he says he can do a grant without it being in their name. I'm not sure how all that's going to work either. There was some discussion about talking to the grant writer, and apparently the city of Luttrell uses the same one as Union County does. So there's still a lot of things to work out. I guess that's why county commission gave him a year to come up with this $150,000 and with a plan on what he was going to do and how he was going to fund it. The new middle school is supposed to be ready to start moving into on July the 7th. I believe Mr. Clay said that the furniture was actually going to be delivered like 2 weeks before that, I believe he said. Um, and so the middle school is on track to be opened for the next school year. So you got that to look forward to, and then we'll get to see what happens with the old middle school. The one that wasn't usable and had to be tore down and all this stuff, and now we're going to turn it into another school apparently, from way they're talking. But anyways, that's a topic for another day. So then the sheriff wanted to talk about there was another guy that was there, and I forgot to write his name down, but there was a guy from the state that came, and he was talking about public safety hazardous duty supplement for public safety officers, EMS, firefighter, or EMS deputies, police officers, so on and so forth. So in order to get this hazardous duty supplement, you had to be employed for 20 years. And part of the requirement is you have to be age 60 to 67, and you will get an extra 0.375% per year. A study was done by this government state guy, and the study was done, and so it will cost $118,544 to pay in total to get the county caught up in total to this current time, as far as when the meeting happened, to pay this supplement to any officer that was due, which is 20 years and age 60 to 67. Sheriff says about 4 to 5 qualify currently that work in the sheriff's department. The sheriff has said that he has the money in his own budget to pay for this, and he was asking county commission to pass it because it wasn't going to cost the county any more money out of their budget. And from now going forward, it's going to be a 0.25% increase to the salary line to pay for anything going forward. It was determined that after this budget, the county would have to take money out of the county's budget because the sheriff's department won't have that money to put back in the budget if anything happened. So if some cars blew up all of a sudden, or if some other things happened, the sheriff has no extra money in his budget after paying this $118,544 for this supplement to go into place. And so the county would have to foot that bill if any other things popped up that we don't know about currently. And the mayor also said that he's applying for some grants to put some red lights up throughout the county, one of them being at the Paulette Elementary School, which I don't think is a bad idea. And he named off several other locations, and he's also asking in that grant to put in a turn lane there at the high school between Rocky Top and the high school, where everybody uses it as a turn lane already. So he's wanting it to be officially a turn lane. So that's your county commission meeting. That's your update. And that's what happened. Again, folks, watch some tax increases. Next meeting will be May the 26th. It's on a Tuesday. Normally they're on Mondays, but this one's going to be on Tuesday, May the 26th. Excuse me. All right, folks. Anybody got any more questions, concerns, comments? That's all I have for this evening. Again, just a real quick recap in case we've got any new viewers here, we did send out citizens questions. They weren't my questions; they were citizens questions, and we sent these on Sunday at 5:13. This one's Kathy Holloway. She did receive that. She acknowledged it and is working on those answers. We sent it at 5:13 to Jerry Lawson as well, and no comments, no anything back as of yet. But as you see down there on the bottom right hand side, he did get those because he looked at them. And again with Rick Carter as well. Got those again Sunday at 5:13, and as well he looked at those questions as well, and again no response from that campaign either. So hopefully by next podcast we'll have some answers. We'll be able to go over them and all that kind of good thing, and just want everybody to be transparent and to know that I did it fairly. I did it at the same time, and every one of them have seen these questions. And I again, I say that because last time I got accused of not sending them, and then I had to go back and actually pull those up and prove that they looked at it. So I figured I'd get ahead of the game this time and go ahead and show it up front. So again, folks, those were not my questions; those were citizens' questions, and I didn't have any part in any of those questions at all. They got sent to me, and I was asked if I would forward them, and there's several different reasons why they didn't want it to come from them. Perhaps maybe whatever the reasons is their own reasons, but perhaps maybe they want to stay anonymous for a reason where they're employees of the county, or maybe they're involved in some happenings with lawsuits, maybe, or many different reasons that they may have had to not want those questions to come exactly from them, but they want those questions answered so they know who they want to vote for. And whatever the case may be, whatever the reason is, I don't mind. So they send them to me. I compiled them. I put them together. I sent them. And that's as fair as I could possibly be. I sent them all at the same time in the exact same way. And they've all obviously seen all those questions. So the ball's in their court. Let's see what happens. And thank you for the information. You're very welcome. You may have seen them, Jerry's wife. All right. I've seen that they have a Facebook connected together for some reason. They aren't crooks now. They'll be once they get in there. Power does weird things to people, and that's why I say at least one campaign, and I'm starting to think another campaign is very scary. What's going to happen when or if they win, having too much power. And I've said that, and I've explained that before on previous podcasts, but and why I thought it was a scary situation when you consolidate so much power under one person. Anyways, anybody else got any questions, comments, concerns? If not, I'm going to say good night. It's almost 10. It's past my bedtime, folks. I'm just kidding. It is past my bedtime, but all right, folks. If nothing else, we appreciate you joining us tonight on the podcast. Remember to pray for me. I'll pray for you. And we thank you very much. Enjoy this weather. I think there's rain coming, maybe over the weekend or something like that. But enjoy this weather we got. Get out, spend time with your families and loved ones. And most of all, like I said, pray one for another. and let God lead and guide us as we go through our daily walk. Thank you very much, and good.
You just heard The Dirt, digging to the bottom of every situation to get the truth with your host, Jason Mills. Tune in next week at the same time for another Dirt broadcast.